The AI that's taking over the world, and you don't even know its name. Let me ask you something. You've heard of ChatGPT. You've probably used it. Maybe you've even argued about it at dinner. It's become the face of the AI revolution, the name everyone says when they talk about artificial intelligence taking over the world. But here's what nobody's telling you. While the world was busy watching ChatGPT, another AI was quietly moving in the background. No viral moments, no celebrity endorsements, no Super Bowl commercials, just silent, relentless, almost invisible growth. And in February 2026, the numbers came out, and they left the entire tech industry speechless. This AI went from $1 billion in revenue to $14 billion in a single year. Not a decade, not 5 years, 1 year. It is now embedded inside 70% of the Fortune 100 companies on the planet. It processes 25 billion operations every single month, and most of the people benefiting from it have absolutely no idea it even exists. Its name is Claude, and this is the story of the fastest, most quietly devastating rise in the history of artificial intelligence. Chapter 1. Born in the Shadow of a Giant. To understand why Claude's story is so extraordinary, you need to understand where it came from. It was 2021. OpenAI was the undisputed king of artificial intelligence. ChatGPT didn't exist yet, but the people who would build it were already inside those walls. And a small group of them, led by Dario Amodei and Daniela Amodei, made a decision that everyone in Silicon Valley thought was career suicide. They walked away. They left one of the most powerful AI labs on the planet, turned down the prestige, the stock options, the certainty, and started something new. They called it Anthropic, and their mission was different from anything the industry had seen before. Not just to build the most powerful AI, but to build the most trustworthy one. They called their approach Constitutional AI, a framework that essentially gave Claude a set of values, principles, and ethical guardrails baked directly into its core. Not bolted on as an afterthought, not filtered through a content moderation team reviewing outputs. Built in, from the ground up, at the architectural level. At the time, most of the tech world shrugged. Ethics in AI? That sounds like a great way to build something slower, more restricted, and less competitive than everything else on the market. They were wrong. Spectacularly, historically wrong. Chapter 2. The number that changed everything. For the first 2 years, Anthropic operated largely under the radar. Claude existed, developers used it, enterprise customers noticed it, but to the general public, it was still just that other AI, the one that wasn't ChatGPT. Then came 2025, and everything changed. Claude's revenue crossed $1 billion at the end of 2024. Already impressive, already a signal that something serious was happening. But what came next was the number that made even the most hardened tech analysts do a double take. By February 2026, Claude's annualized revenue had hit $14 billion. In 12 months, they had multiplied their revenue by 14 times. To put that in context, the most successful tech companies spent a decade trying to achieve that kind of growth. Claude did it in a single year. And then the investors came, not cautiously, not with small exploratory bets. They came with the largest checks the private technology world has ever seen. Amazon committed up to $25 billion and secured 5 gigawatts of computing capacity to power Claude's infrastructure. Google followed with a commitment of up to $40 billion, starting with $10 billion immediately. Microsoft invested, Nvidia invested, and on February 12, 2026, Anthropic closed a $30 billion Series G funding round at a valuation of $380 billion. The names on that investor list didn't just read like a who's who of Silicon Valley. They read like the entire financial establishment of the modern world. BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, Sequoia Capital, Fidelity, Blackstone, Temasek, the Qatar Investment Authority, and more than 25 other institutions. These aren't companies that place careless bets. When they all write checks at the same time, they are making a collective statement about where they believe the future of the global economy is going. And here's the detail that stopped everyone cold. Microsoft, the company that already owns 27% of OpenAI, Claude's biggest rival, still chose to invest in Claude. Think about what that means. Even the company most financially committed to ChatGPT looked at Claude and decided they needed to be on this side of the table too. But even that wasn't the end of the story. As of this week, April 29, 2026, Anthropic is now in talks to raise a fresh round of funding at a valuation exceeding $900 billion. That would make it the most valuable AI startup on the planet, overtaking OpenAI itself. The round hasn't closed, but the fact that those conversations are happening tells you everything you need to know about where the smart money thinks this is going. Chapter 3. The silent takeover nobody saw coming. Here's the part of this story that should genuinely surprise you. While ChatGPT became a household name, the AI your grandmother has heard of, the one that shows up in news headlines and late-night talk shows, Claude was doing something far more strategic. It wasn't chasing fame. It was infiltrating the infrastructure of the global economy. Right now, today, Claude is embedded inside the operations of 70% of the Fortune 100. Think about what that means. 7 out of every 10 of the world's largest, most powerful companies are running Claude in their workflows, their customer service systems, their legal teams, their research departments, their product development pipelines. Not experimenting with it, not trailing it, running it daily, at scale. Over 300,000 businesses worldwide use Claude through Anthropic's Enterprise API. Over 6,000 applications, including household names like Salesforce, Notion, and Slack, have integrated Claude natively into their platforms. Every time you use one of those tools, there's a significant chance Claude is working somewhere in the background, invisible and silent, making things run better than they did before. And then there's the detail that will genuinely make your jaw drop. Claude is the only AI model in the world currently being used in classified United States intelligence and defense missions. Not ChatGPT, not Gemini, Claude. Through its partnership with Palantir and Amazon Web Services, Claude has been cleared for work that most AI companies aren't even allowed to know exists. The most powerful government on the planet trusted Claude with its most sensitive operations. This is what a silent takeover looks like. Not headlines, not viral videos, just steady, methodical infiltration into the systems and the secrets that run the modern world. Chapter 4. The product that broke records. If Claude's growth as a platform was remarkable, what happened with one specific product was something else entirely. In early 2025, Anthropic launched Claude Code, an AI tool designed specifically for software developers. The premise was simple but powerful. Instead of just answering questions about code, Claude Code could actually write it, debug it, refactor it, and deploy it autonomously, end-to-end, like having a senior engineer available 24 hours a day at a fraction of the cost. The reception was immediate and overwhelming. By early 2026, Claude Code had reached $2.5 billion in annualized revenue on its own. Business subscriptions quadrupled in just the first 3 months of 2026. Developers who used it weren't just satisfied, they were evangelical. In head-to-head developer surveys, 70% of developers now prefer Claude for coding tasks over every other AI model available. Think about the significance of that number. In a market where ChatGPT had a years-long head start, where Google had poured billions into Gemini, where every major tech company on the planet was competing for developer loyalty, Claude won, quietly, methodically, and by an enormous margin. Chapter 5. 200 million reasons the world is paying attention. Here's a number that puts everything else into perspective. In January 2026 alone, Claude's website received 202 million visits. That's not total users. That's not registered accounts. That's visits in a single month. Month over month, the mobile app alone grew by 49%, nearly doubling its user base in 30 days. And where are people discovering Claude? The answer will matter to you. YouTube accounts for more than half of all social media traffic to Claude's platform. More than any other social network, more than Twitter, more than LinkedIn, more than Instagram combined. People are going to YouTube to understand what Claude is, what it can do, and whether it's worth using. Which means right now, at this exact moment in history, there is a massive and rapidly growing audience actively searching YouTube for content about Claude, and almost nobody making the kind of cinematic, high-quality, story-driven content that this audience deserves. That gap is a window, and windows don't stay open forever. Chapter 6. Why Claude might actually win. So here's the question that the entire tech industry is quietly debating right now. In a world where OpenAI has more name recognition, Google has more resources, and Meta has more users, how is Claude winning? The answer comes back to that founding decision, the one everyone laughed at in 2021, trust. In a world drowning in AI-generated misinformation, hallucinating chatbots, and models that tell you whatever you want to hear, Claude built its entire identity around being the AI you can actually rely on. Enterprise customers don't just want power, They want safety. They want an AI that can deploy inside their legal department without it going rogue. They want an AI they can put in front of their customers without it saying something catastrophic. They want an AI that has guardrails that actually work. That's Claude. And in the enterprise market, the market that controls the real money in AI, that positioning has proven to be worth more than all the viral moments and celebrity endorsements in the world. Claude now holds 29% of the global enterprise AI assistant market, up from 18% just 1 year ago. Every quarter, the number grows, and every quarter, the companies choosing Claude and the investors writing billion-dollar checks behind it are making the same statement. In the long game of artificial intelligence, they are betting on the one that was built to be trusted. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, the US intelligence community. They all looked at the same landscape, evaluated every option available to them, and chose Claude. That's not coincidence. That's a verdict. So here's where we land. A group of people walked away from the most famous AI lab in the world because they believed trust mattered more than speed. The industry laughed. Then those people built something that generated $30 billion in annualized revenue, attracted over $65 billion in committed investment from the most powerful financial institutions on the planet, infiltrated 70% of the Fortune 100, earned the trust of the US intelligence community, and as of this week, is in talks to become the most valuable AI company in the world. Claude didn't win by being the loudest. It won by being the most reliable. And in a world that's increasingly run by artificial intelligence, reliability might just be the most powerful competitive advantage that exists. The question isn't whether Claude is going to matter. It already does, in ways most people haven't even noticed yet. So drop your answer in the comments right now. Are you Team Claude, Team ChatGPT, or are you watching this AI race from the sidelines waiting to see who wins? I read every single comment. And if this video just changed how you see the AI industry, and I think it did, subscribe right now, because the next chapter of this story is already being written, and it's going to be even bigger than this one. The future isn't waiting, and neither should you.